A family is devastated after learning their father's remains are sent to the wrong funeral home.
What do you mean you don't have my father?
A mix-up at the hospital led to the wrong person picking him up.
The family says they were not told about the problem until they showed up at the funeral home.
And now they're suing Froedtert for the mistake. Sean Gallagher has more on how this all happened.
Ronald Robsky's sudden death was a shock to his family, but they say it was even more shocking not knowing where his body went after it left here at Community Memorial Hospital.
He had a massive heart attack and he had passed.
When Dawn Robarge's father, Ronald, passed away last October, she began the process of making funeral arrangements.
He counted and relied on me to be that one that was going to handle those things.
But when Dawn arrived at Peace of Mind Funeral Home 2 days after her father's death to finalize everything, she says the employees were upset.
She said, "Dawn, I'm very sorry to tell you, but we do not have your father's remains." This feeling fell in the pit of my stomach that, what do you mean you don't have my father?
Dawn learned her dad's body went to Phillip Funeral Home in West Bend, a place she claims to have only mentioned as a possibility in the minutes after her dad died.
We did not pick Phillips, and I was very specific.
Froedtert, which owns Community Memorial Hospital, says they don't comment on pending litigation. But they sent a letter to Dawn apologizing, saying the mix-up was, quote, not something that you additionally should have to deal with. Dawn was devastated, feeling as though she failed her father since his funeral ended up being delayed for nearly 2 weeks.
It's been my job to do what my parents asked me, was to please take care of things for us. But when something like this happens to you, I don't know how to reconcile with it.
Froedtert also said in the letter, quote, I want to assure you that this is taken very seriously to prevent this from occurring to another family. But Dawn wants to know how.
I would love to know, how do you not do this again? What do you have in place to not let this happen to somebody again?
Dawn Robarge says her parents couldn't afford to send any of the kids to college growing up. So if they win this suit, any money that they get from it will go towards opening a scholarship in her father's name. In Menominee Falls, Sean Gallagher, today's TMJ4.
The National Funeral Directors Association says these types of errors are not tracked, but tells us they are very rare.